everyone. I'm Katina Whetstone from the Delta Colorado Paranormal.
And I'm Cynthia Hammer, and I'm with the Colorado Missing Person Organization.
And welcome to the episode of The Missing. This is where we come together and we kind of discuss in detail some cases that have kind of caught our eye and that we want to discuss our theories. So disclaimer, some of our cases have a sexual nature about them,
Right.
as well as they have theories as opposed to actual substantial evidence. So that's our disclaimer.
And also some of the information that we gathered is from what was put out in the news and statements on the news or blogs of what the parents said.
Community members reaching out and talking about their points of view and things that they maybe didn't want to talk to the police about. So we are just kind of shedding some light and some theories on cases. So today's case is currently ongoing and is very active at this exact moment, and it is Lashaya Stine, who came up missing on July 14th, 2016 from Aurora, Colorado. So everything seemed pretty normal. In fact, Lashaya seemed to be an above average teenager.
Oh, yeah.
She was getting ready to graduate.
She had an intern, I believe.
She was 16 years old, and she had an interview for an internship the day after she went missing. She was going into a nursing program, and her internship was going to be at the University of Colorado Hospital. So she was super excited about that, and her mom went to bed, and that was the last time that she saw her. The next morning, she went to get up. She had called for her a couple times, and she didn't come out of her room, so she sent her brother in to see, to wake her, and her brother...
Sabrina did. Sabrina, her mom.
The mother, Sabrina. Sent the brother in to wake her, and she was gone. They searched the house. She was nowhere to be found. And so Sabrina went on a gadabout around the neighborhood looking to see if maybe she went out walking around. She never found a trace of her. She does recall another instance that something similar had happened where Lashaya had just left and went on a little walk, but she just popped back up 20 minutes later.
Yeah.
Like she hadn't gone very far, maybe was just out on a walk, but she doesn't recall any other instance that she had acted like this.
And that was the first time that she had done it. After this time.
Right. So they were driving around the area asking if anybody had seen her. Nobody had seen her. They couldn't find her, so they called the Aurora police. And the Aurora police immediately listed her as a runaway.
Yeah, they told her she probably just ran away and she'll be back later. And, you know, every case that I've ever worked on, that's what the police say. The first thing they say is, she's just a runaway, don't worry about her. And so I say, if you have a missing person and you do file a report, don't wait for the police. Do your research, go out there, try to find them right away, because the first 48 hours is very crucial.
Absolutely. But when they couldn't find her and the Aurora police listed her as a runaway, they didn't come to the house initially. They just listed her as a runaway and said somebody would call her. But in the meantime, Sabrina did everything that she could. Sabrina's sister and niece came to the house and they went online to track her phone on Google. She had tried to call her phone a few times and it rang a few times and then just went straight to voicemail.
Yeah.
Like somebody either turned it off or it died. So they did find where the calls were coming through until the phone died, but they couldn't find a location.
Yeah. But they did, but I guess I'll just tell you. The chief of police was on vacation, and when he got back, he looked at the case and he said, no, there is something wrong here. He went to the house and he told them that he didn't feel good about it, asked Sabrina to go ahead and let him know what happened again. So the police did show up about 6 p.m. And began to take a closer look at Lashaya's room. They had noticed that her window was open. Her window is a window that is like in a basement. It's used for emergency purposes. It has a gate on the bottom. There was a flower pot on the gate. But when they went outside, they noticed that the flower pot was moved, so they weren't sure if she was going to use that way to get in, but she couldn't. It didn't work. So she went back to where she was at. But they did notice that in her room.
So even though she was labeled as a runaway, did they have any evidence of her even leaving the home?
Yes, they did. The chief of police went ahead and held a press conference at one of the middle schools. I believe it was North Middle School. And they had a video of seeing her walking on the street at 2:35, I believe, a.m. in the morning, which was just about 15 minutes after they went to bed in the house. Sabrina said that they stayed up a little bit later that night, so she snuck out. But everything was fine. I mean, they said goodnight. They said, I love you. See you in the morning. She was all excited to get up and do her interview.
I did see that in the video they saw headlights of a car like pull up kind of beside her, so they thought somebody might have picked her up in that video because there's nowhere else, like no other videos, nothing else capturing her. And so from there, the chief of police held the press conference and then the trail just went cold.
I'm not sure if it went cold or they had someone...
Or did tips start coming in right away, or was it years later that tips started coming in?
So the tips kept coming in, and the family also thought, well, maybe it was her ex-boyfriend. Maybe she was sneaking out to see him. The police went ahead and contacted him, determined it wasn't him, and they contacted some of her friends, and they didn't really get anything from them either. They do know that down the road they figured out that who she was with was people that didn't go to George Washington High School. None of her friends really knew these people, so Mom was kind of wondering where she met them, you know?
And they had gotten access to her social media accounts and didn't find a connection there.
No. So where did she meet these people?
Well,
I don't know.
There were a lot of tips coming in over the years, and they were checking out a lot of things, but they were pointing to a man that held her and was prostituting her.
Right.
And the tips, the people giving the tips were too scared to actually turn the man in. So he's connected in a few things. So around this same time in 2016, and I just brought this up to you, we were visiting Denver, Aurora area, because my husband and I had briefly we had just joined our family together, and we had still a child living in Denver with his parent. So we went up to visit him, and we went and rented a hotel room, and we were staying in this hotel room. So this would have been about February-ish. It was the end of February of the same year, about 5 months prior. And there were, in the hotel that we stayed in, there were bullet holes in the hotel. And just a few days prior to us going there, they had busted a prostituting ring, and there was a shootout at the hotel. And it was minor prostitutes, and there was all these rumors going around that neighborhood, and people freely talking about how there were apartment complexes with many apartments rented, and teenagers were staying there that were part of a prostitution ring. This was 5 months prior.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I find that the fact that they were trying to link that there was a man keeping her and prostituting her, and that this stuff was actually going on at that time, it seems likely that there's some truth behind that.
Right. She did get a notice that someone had seen her at the motel, and so she got in a car with some of her friends or her family. I'm not sure who got in the car with her. But they went and stayed far away so that they wouldn't be noticed. But
oh yeah, so they had gotten a tip that she was being. They had undercover police going around to hotels at the time, and they had gotten a tip that she was being pimped out of one of the hotels.
Right.
So they had actually gotten a call and thought that she was going to be in room one of this hotel. And so her mother and some family members went over there, and they hung back to watch. The police eventually went in, and she was not in there. They did find clothes being kept in a bag in the corner of the hotel room, but did not find the girl anywhere.
Right.
So once they did their investigation there, they left. Some people in the neighborhood came to Sabrina.
Well, it's some people that were staying at the motel.
Yeah. came to Sabrina and said that they were just a little late, that they had moved her out of the hotel, walked her right across the street to another hotel.
Right.
And then after everything was over, put her into a SUV, a navy blue SUV.
And I believe they
left with her.
They told Sabrina's friend, not Sabrina herself.
Nope, Sabrina got a call from the guy that said, "I just saw your daughter," and the reason he knew her was because he saw the scar on her chest. So she has a scar on her chest from
a sting, like a bee sting or something when she was little.
And it got infected and caused a scar on her chest. So he knew it was her, said it was her, and said that they had just missed her. Another tip came that she was at another hotel, but they couldn't find her again, and no leads for a while after this. So it took like 4 to 5 months to even get the lead that she was at the hotel.
Right. And the police thought that at that time, since the leads kind of stopped, that they had taken her out of state. And someone had mentioned her being taken to Kansas.
Yes, so a girl that was helping pass out flyers for her boyfriend told her that Lashaya was taken back to Kansas. And he said that he didn't want to talk to the police about it because he was part of a gang. And the person who was holding her was also part of this gang.
Yeah.
And because of gang loyalties, he didn't want to tell who the person was that was holding her, but just wanted to let Sabrina know that she was still alive.
It's just so frustrating too. And then also there was another girl that there's an organization that helps the teen girls that want to get back off the streets and stuff. And this one teen went there to get help, and she told the organization that she was being prostituted with Lashaya, and that she even gave the guy's name, but for some reason this organization,
and that Lashaya wanted to come home but was afraid to. So we know that there's threats going on, that they've obviously threatened the livelihood of her mother or her brother in this circumstance, or she would just find it and escape.
Right.
So she's alive and well, and they're continuing to search for her.
But the point is, the organization keeps everything confidential, even though they know this could have saved a girl's life, or they kept it confidential. They didn't call the police. They didn't relay the information. If they would have just done that, you know how much sooner we would have had her?
So they didn't relay this information to the police at all, but the girl knew who the guy was too. She could give names, she could give places, and the organization couldn't release any of this to the police because it was given in confidence.
I mean, unless you're HIPAA or anything, I think that they should have.
When the police did get this information, which doesn't say how they got the information, so it may not have been the organization. Maybe the organization pushed her to give the police the information because through those laws they really can't.
Right.
So maybe they pushed her to, because eventually the police did get the information, and when they did, they set up surveillance on the guy they thought it was, and it never led them to Lashaya.
And poor Lashaya's mom, Sabrina. I mean, can you imagine being a mom and waking up, your kid's gone? And I know this happens every day now, you know, with teenagers that think they're old enough to just run away. But the turmoil she was in, the searching every day. I mean, this
just to get the police to take her seriously at first.
And you know, that's why they did take her serious, because she was so determined to find her daughter, and she hasn't stopped since.
Right.
I always get chills. I'm getting chills. Good for you, Sabrina. We got your back.
So more recently, like we said, the tips just keep rolling in over the years. So there's more and more tips going, which is, it's positive hope that she's still alive, because they've not found remains. But, and the tips keep coming, like saying that she's still around somewhere. So let's talk a little bit about Lashaya specifically, just Lashaya, and what's going on with her.
Well, first of all, like we mentioned before, she has that scar. This is something, if you see her and you see her upper chest up here, you would see a scar. It's kind of a jagged scar. It's like in the size of a quarter. She also has, she had bad acne So it looks like freckles on her face. So she would have that on her cheek. Someone said that she would be wearing a black wig, straight black wig. And let's see what else.
Going by a different name.
Going by a different name. She could possibly be doing that.
Initially, she was 150 pounds, but reports now of people who have seen her say that she's lost weight and is more down to about 120.
Right. So just kind of, those are the main things that we wanted to talk about. And, you know, also the fact that her mom, and we're going to go ahead and show a little video of her mom. It's pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah, so check this out. This is Sabrina, Lashaya's mom, just speaking to us about Lashaya.
Just vanishes. You know what I mean? Somebody knows something, and they're just not saying anything. Somebody has to know something. And it's so hard. Some days you don't even want to breathe. The days are so long and the nights are even longer. I can't keep living these days without you.
So that's pretty heartbreaking as a mom.
Yeah, you know? Absolutely. Hard to hear.
Definitely. But there is a ray of hope currently as we speak.
I don't know if it's a ray of hope, but it's something.
Closure is hope, I believe.
Yeah,
it
is.
Hope for closure in any light. There was a home where some people that Lashaya knew lived close to where she lived. And it was being rented at the time in 2016.
I think it was rented. It was 2200 Lansing in Aurora. It was just not far from where Lashaya disappeared.
Right. And so apparently she knew some people there, but shortly after she disappeared, it was back on the market for rent or whatever, and people have lived there. So there was some tips that came in about somebody that had lived there and that they should be looking at that home.
Oh.
But
there was also that one lady that was searching for a home.
Oh, yes. Well, yeah. And so, you know, they couldn't go look at this home because people were living there, but just shortly after she disappeared, this one woman was looking for a home, and they had gone to that home in question and was looking around, and there was a rancid smell, but they didn't report it to anybody. They just said it was a rancid smell there.
It was horrid, she said.
Yeah, so we're not sure exactly what that smell was, but per some other tips that have come in over the years, and now that they could actually get access to that home.
Right, because there were also some people living there that
we're not part of this investigation.
Yeah, we're not part of it. So for some reason they couldn't investigate it. I don't know why, but that sounds a little far-fetched, don't you think?
I'm not sure. I mean, it kind of depends on what the laws are about going into a rental property.
They would have to have a judge approve it.
Yeah, and maybe it just wasn't. But they are currently searching that home. There's an investigation going on currently from that home, and they have taken some things out of that home. They've come out with bags and small items, big items. Like
they were there for 3 days, and they had to call the fire department to come in with some heavy equipment so that they could
remove the floor,
some of the cement in the basement.
Yeah.
So they did find something. They even said they found something, but they just didn't know it was.
They're not releasing what it is that they found yet because they want to do some analyzing of the evidence to see if it's even related to this case at all. But they went there on a tip relating to this case. So whatever they've found, whether it be related to her or related to another case, some answers are going to be had.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So that's hopeful, but
hopefully we'll hear soon from them on that. And I also want to make a little thing, because I know I've been doing this and I think it's so important. I saw this, I thought everybody needs to know this. So if you're in danger, if you go to like a convenience store and you're in danger and you want to get this person's attention, let them know, there's a signal you can do. And what it is even if you're at home and you have an abusive husband or abusive wife, sometimes that happens, you just put your hand up. If you're talking to someone like we are now.
So video chat your friend in the middle of that situation. Take a breather and try to video chat your friend. Talk about pizza, talk about recipes. But in the middle of that conversation,
do this. Just put your hand up, put your thumb in, and squeeze down. They will know. If everyone uses that, and if everyone teaches their kids and everybody the sign for I need help, that would...
So let's practice that really quick. Hey Charlotte, it's really good to see you. My kids really liked that macaroni recipe that you gave us the other day.
Really good.
Can you give us that recipe now? I can't wait to try it.
Yep. If you have to do it with no one noticing, even just do it in front of you like that. Keep that in mind. Teach your kids that.
Guys, you can video comment on any of our videos. We'll get that immediately and we'll come to your aid.
And when we hear more about this case, we will come back and touch base on it again.
Absolutely.
Because this is such an important case, and prayers go out to you, Sabrina. We love you. You're such a strong woman. We just gonna keep you in prayer and just hope for the best out of all this.
Aurora community and community around.
Oh yeah.
2016 was not that long ago. I know many of you have heard rumors, have seen things that maybe you don't really want to talk about. We can speak with you, speak with us, help us find the answers for Lashaya. And I know every people out there know. So and don't be afraid. Come to us.
I personally want to thank the Aurora Police Department, the FBI, for stepping in and giving this woman hope and not giving up on her, not giving up on Lashaya. And
they've kept Sabrina in the loop through everything that has been going on. They've been very communicative with her, and those are her words, that they've kept her in the loop. So
I was very impressed.
Yes, so good, good job to the Aurora Police Department just being diligent in this one. I pray for your diligence further and your knowledge to help us connect the dots and find answers. Yeah. So until next time, guys, thanks for joining us here on The Missing.
Don't forget to subscribe. We need subscribers to our channel, so just don't watch it, subscribe.
So subscribe, share it with your friends, like, comment. If you have ideas or cases going on here in Colorado that you need our help with, message us about those as well. So stay safe, guys.
Bye.